Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, January 20th. Now, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games I love the most, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Monday in college hoops. First up, we have Rutgers and Penn State. This one is 6:30 Eastern on Peacock. Penn State is looking to snap its 4-game losing streak, now 2-5 in conference play. You look at some of their losses: Illinois, Oregon, Michigan State. The Oregon and Michigan State games were very close, down to the wire. Even the Indiana game at the beginning of the losing streak was a close one. So, it's unfortunate, but you're going to see that a lot in these power conferences where, teams will go on losing streaks. Doesn't mean they're bad teams. It's just a very competitive Big Ten this year. I think Penn State, though, gets a bounce-back, kind of get-right win and a cover in this one. I think they match up well against Rutgers. Give credit to Rutgers for its last performance against Nebraska, going on the road, scoring 85 points, and winning that game outright. Makes it back-to-back victories for the Scarlet Knights. But for me, when I look at this team, defensively ranked outside the top 100 in adjusted defensive efficiency. They don't force many turnovers. They're not strong on the defensive glass. I think they lose both the turnover battle and the rebounding battle in this game. And just for me, they're not a good enough shooting team to be able to keep up for 40 minutes. Ranked 268th at the free throw line, 169th in effective field goal percentage. I got to go with Penn State in this one and lay the points at home. Next up, we have Arkansas Pine Bluff and Bethune-Cookman in the SWAC. This one is 7 p.m. Eastern. Pine Bluff is one of the weaker teams in the conference and in the country. 3-14 record straight up and 0-4 in conference play, just 5-10 against the spread. But for me, when I look at Pine Bluff and I look at that last game against Florida A&M, this was a game they were down by as many as 24 points. It was 52-28 at one point. They were able to battle themselves back in that game in the second half, actually winning the second half by 9 points. And, they didn't cover the spread. It was only a 5-point spread or so against the Ramblers. But I still thought it was something that Pine Bluff could build on going into this game. And I've seen it a few times with Pine Bluff this year, back in the non-conference schedule, which was a very brutal schedule. They played a game against Texas Tech where they were down by as many as 40 points. They were able to work their way at the end of that game to find the cover, getting, I think, 35 or 36 points in that one. And, this is a game where Bethune-Cookman is one of the better teams in the conference, but for me, is still not as, good enough to be laying this many points in a conference game right now. Yes, they've taken care of business against some of the weaker teams. You look at their last win against Mississippi Valley. But I also look at this team from a shot quality perspective, not great. They're one of the weaker rebounding teams in the conference. They turn the ball over quite a bit. This is a very strong defensive team, but for me, I kind of view this game as Bethune-Cookman takes a healthy lead into halftime and kind of takes their foot off the pedal in the second half, which we see many times in this conference. And I think Pine Bluff finds a way to cover the spread. I don't think they have much of a chance at winning this game outright, but I'm going to take the points of Arkansas Pine Bluff. I think they get the cover. Next up, we'll stay in the SWAC as Alcorn State takes on Prairie View A&M. This one is 8:30 Eastern. Got my Prairie View A&M hat on for this video, but I'm going against the Panthers in this one. I think Alcorn is showing. This is a team that's played well in this series. They swept it last year pretty handily, and that was definitely a much better Alcorn team. But Prairie View A&M is a team that's been quite frustrating, I would say, in the last few seasons, and they've had a lot of talent on their rosters, but you've yet to really reach that next level in the conference under Byron Smith. And you look at their last game against Jackson State, a winnable game at home. These are the types of games that Prairie View is looking to win to take that next step in their rebuild in the conference. But lost that one by 9 points, despite having a 17-4 turnover advantage in terms of forcing 17 turnovers, only losing the ball 4 times. I think Prairie View has a big advantage in the turnover battle in this game as well. However, Alcorn is one of the best rebounding teams in terms of offensive rebounding, not only in the conference, but really in all of mid-major college basketball. And Prairie View A&M is the worst defensive rebounding team in the country. So I think Alcorn's going to get a lot of second chance looks. So not a great shooting team, but they should get a lot of second opportunities on the offensive glass. And I think they score enough points to keep this game at least within the number, if not earn the outright upset. Next up, we see Mississippi Valley State taking on Florida A&M. This one is 7 p.m. Eastern. Despite Mississippi Valley being the weakest team in Division I college basketball, I still don't think the Rattlers of FAMU should be laying this many points against any team in the conference. Florida A&M, I think, is heading in the right direction as a program. I think they've been a lot more competitive this season. They're coming off the win and cover against Pine Bluff. They had a nice win in non-conference play over Presbyterian, but still a team that, fundamentally these teams are not too far off. They both turn the ball over quite a bit. They're both some of the weakest rebounding teams in college basketball. Both struggle from the free throw line. Shot quality-wise, they're also not too different, in my opinion. I think Florida A&M, the more talented team, the better team overall. But again, they're laying a ton of points in this game. We're getting Mississippi Valley at a decent price because of their most recent blowout losses. I think we see the Delta Devils do something similar to what they did against Alabama A&M or Prairie View A&M in their covers, despite losing those games outright. So give me Mississippi Valley. I think they lose this game, but cover the number as the road dog. And the final game we're to talk about for the Monday card in college basketball, it's Eastern Washington and Montana State. This one is going to be 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Now, I don't love going against revenge-minded home teams like we see with Montana State in this game. They lost to Eastern Washington at the beginning of non-conference play on January 4th, 68-63 the final. But for me, Eastern Washington played so well in that game. Despite shooting 7% from three-point range, they were outshot by 20% from the perimeter in that game, still found a way to win it and almost score 70 points in the win. They were the much better team fundamentally. They had more offensive rebounds, fewer turnovers. They had a 57% rating from two-point field goals. So they were scoring a lot of sustainable buckets in that game. And for me, at the very least, I think they cover in this one. I don't know if they can get the season series sweep, but Eastern Washington was a team at the beginning of the year I really had no expectations for because they were a completely new roster. They were one of the least experienced teams in Division I. I got to give them credit. They played quite well this year, despite that record on paper not looking great. They've been a competitive team in the conference. They already have a win over this team, Montana State. Like I said, I think Montana State could certainly get the win, but I don't think they get the cover in the second meeting. And that's it. Those are the games for Monday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe and put those college basketball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.